In many industries, the most profitable infrastructure systems are not necessarily the ones with the most advanced technology. They are often the systems capable of coordinating higher operational volume, recurring workflow demand, and scalable network efficiency over time. And dental imaging may gradually be moving in the same direction, because behind every successful imaging operation, there may be an underlying economic architecture most clinicians never fully see. In previous videos, we explored digital workflows, infrastructure ecosystems, AI coordination, laboratories, and the growing operational complexity behind modern dentistry. But today, I want to focus on something much more practical: the business mechanics behind scalable dental imaging. One of the biggest misconceptions in digital dentistry is assuming the scanner itself is the business. But in reality, the CBCT machine may simply be one component inside a much larger operational system. Because successful imaging infrastructure may also depend on referral concentration, scheduling efficiency, workflow coordination, multidisciplinary integration, cloud systems, staffing, software ecosystems, treatment planning, and operational scalability. And once all those systems begin working together efficiently, the economics may begin changing dramatically. Now, imagine two completely different imaging operations. One center performs 5 scans per day, another coordinates 40 scans daily. Across multiple clinics, orthodontic workflows, implant planning, oral surgery, periodontics, and laboratory integration. Even if both centers own similar technology, their economics may function completely differently. For example, an imaging center performing 5 scans per day at an average reimbursement of $250 per scan may generate approximately $1,250 daily in imaging revenue. But a centralized ecosystem coordinating 40 scans daily across multiple specialties and referral networks could potentially generate $10,000 per day before additional workflow services are even included. And that may not yet include treatment planning, intraoral scanning, STL coordination, smile design, surgical guide preparation, AI-assisted workflows, or laboratory integration services. At that point, the business model may begin functioning very differently from a traditional standalone imaging operation. Because once infrastructure costs are already established, higher workflow volume may dramatically improve operational efficiency. This becomes especially important in imaging infrastructure, because many operational costs remain relatively stable. Equipment, software, cloud systems, lease expenses, staffing structures, maintenance contracts, and digital workflow systems. But as utilization and workflow coordination expand, the infrastructure may begin generating significantly greater operational leverage. And this is one reason scalable imaging systems may become increasingly attractive economically, because profitability may not simply come from just owning technology. It may increasingly come from coordinating volume efficiently. This becomes even more powerful when multiple specialties begin operating inside the same digital ecosystem. For example, orthodontists, implantologists, periodontists, oral surgeons, prosthodontists, endodontists, and laboratories may all increasingly depend on CBCT imaging, digital planning, STL workflows, AI diagnostics, cloud coordination, and interdisciplinary treatment integration. At that point, a centralized imaging ecosystem may begin functioning less like a standalone radiology center and more like a multidisciplinary workflow infrastructure hub. Over time, isolated clinics may struggle to fully optimize increasingly complex digital systems internally, especially when managing software updates, or staff training, or workflow integration, AI coordination, cloud systems, laboratories, and interdisciplinary communication all simultaneously. Meanwhile, centralized ecosystems may distribute those operational systems across larger referral bases, multiple providers, coordinated workflows, and recurring case volume, and that may significantly improve long-term scalability. This is one reason the future value of imaging centers may extend far beyond diagnostics alone, because the real long-term value may increasingly come from workflow coordination, ecosystem integration, planning infrastructure, cloud communication, and operational orchestration across multiple specialties simultaneously. In other words, the imaging center may eventually become the infrastructure layer connecting the digital ecosystem itself. Imagine for a moment a regional imaging ecosystem coordinating dozens of clinics, interdisciplinary referrals, centralized planning, AI-assisted diagnostics, laboratory communication, and cloud-based workflows simultaneously. At that scale, the infrastructure itself may begin functioning as a platform, a coordination system, and a scalable operational network, and not simply as a place just taking scans. Ultimately, the long-term economics of dental imaging may depend far less on technology ownership alone and far more on operational coordination, scalable workflow volume, multidisciplinary integration, and infrastructure efficiency across large digital ecosystems. Because once imaging systems begin operating at scale, their economics may start functioning very differently from traditional standalone clinical models. In upcoming videos, I'll continue breaking down the economics of digital dentistry, imaging center scalability, operational leverage, multidisciplinary workflow systems, and the emergent infrastructure models transforming modern dental care. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.